Hello, everyone. It's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. A few days ago, several days ago, Jason Hill posted on his LinkedIn page Pininfarina wind tunnel. And here's this picture of the Pininfarina wind tunnel with what is obviously the Gamma model. And we know that Gamma is in Italy. And the Pininfarina wind tunnel is in Turin, Italy. And then a few days later, he posts this Pininfarina wind tunnel happened. And what do we mean by happened? So there was this, and this picture does look a little odd. And there were some people in the Discord channel who were saying, oh, this is probably photoshopped. Um, yeah, this is, they probably weren't really there. So I do have confirmation that they were actually there. This is not Photoshop, and they were able to run some tests. So we have some real world data. Now this is the Gamma model, which, if you guys remember, has different control arms on the front suspension than the Launch Edition. It had some fit and finish things where the gaskets over the windows didn't seat quite exactly flush. So, it's not as streamlined a vehicle as the Launch Edition is going to be. And so the data that comes out of this will not be exactly what you would get from the Launch Edition Aptera, but it is a good facsimile of it. So they were able to run some tests, and this is not Photoshop. They were actually there, and it's actually a very cool story of how Aptera ended up at the Pininfarina wind tunnel. And Aptera is going to tell us that story and let us know, and they're going to release the results of this probably in a couple of weeks, and then we can talk about it more when they release the information to us. Um, so for those of you guys don't know, Pininfarina is a design house, and they used to be a contract manufacturer too. But I'm not uh, hugely knowledgeable about automotive design, but even I've heard of Pininfarina, and probably a lot of you guys have heard of them as well. They used to also do contract manufacturing in Sweden, but they sold that off to Volvo, their factory in Sweden. But they've been designing cars for years, and here's some of the cars that they've designed. Um, just beautiful cars, uh, and they are icon. This is a I've seen this before. It's like a 1-2-1 configuration vehicle. Oh, we'll have to look at that at some point. And here's a list of cars that they've designed um, since World War II. And so the list is long, and you see that they've designed cars you see Ferrari on there a lot. Ferrari and Pininfarina have a very, very close relationship, and the vast majority of Ferrari vehicles have been designed by or in collaboration with Pininfarina or former Pininfarina designers. So you see this, Datsun, BMC, MG, Nissan, Peugeot, Alfa Romeo. Um, yeah, a whole list of them. And then most recently, if you look at the more recent vehicles, now you see some Chinese vehicles. Sherry Automotive. Sherry Automotive has a agreement with Aptera to supply some parts, which I'm still not aware of what parts they're supplying to Aptera. And then there's Maserati, Mitsubishi, and VinFast, which is the Vietnamese EV manufacturer. So you can see they've been doing design for many, many companies. Anyways, what the interesting thing is the wind tunnel um, at Pininfarina is 50 years old. They built this in 1972, and at that time, it was the first wind tunnel in the entire country of Italy. Um, and it was only one of 7 in the world that could test full-size vehicles. And at that time, when Pininfarina uh, built this wind tunnel, the only other places that really had wind tunnels were like government laboratories and universities and research facilities. So it was very unusual for a car manufacturer or automotive designer to have a wind tunnel, and Pininfarina was one of the pioneers in aerodynamics in automotive design. And so they built this thing in 1972. And if you go to their website, they have an entire section of their website about their wind tunnel. And their wind tunnel can do aerodynamic tests of up to 250 kilometers per hour. They have a moving ground system because rotating tires greatly impact the aerodynamics and airflow. So you can't just have a car sitting there and just blow air across it. You have to rotate the wheels too. And so their wheel drive system also goes up to 250 kilometers per hour. And so even now it is a very it's a very good wind tunnel system, even 50 years later, and it's still being used by Formula One teams, and there was a part in here where they were talking about ski racers using it. Anyway, lots of things are being done in it, and they still use it. And Aptera was there doing some tests, and so we look forward to hearing about the tests, and hopefully they'll tell you guys a story of how they came to get hooked up with Pininfarina and end up at the wind tunnel. And hopefully we're going to see some real world numbers, not exactly on the launch edition, but very, very close. The dimensions of the Gamma are very close to Delta, and the shape of Gamma is very close to Delta. It's just a few things, like the fit and finish is going to be a little bit worse, and the control arms are going to be a little bit different. But mostly, it should be a very, very close approximation of what kind of air resistance and coefficient of drag we're going to get with the launch edition. So that's very exciting because we know that they've done the computational fluid dynamics, but people really do like to see the real world data, just the same as the safety tests. They've done the simulations, but people want to see crash test data on physical objects, and so they want to see the wind tunnel and aerodynamics testing on a physical object, and it looks like they've done that recently, and we're going to hear about it. All right, so let me know what you guys think. Do you think that they hit the mark? Is this coefficient of drag gonna come out 1.3? It's gonna come out a little higher, a little lower? How's it gonna be? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, everyone.